Have you ever stopped to think how one small habit, done in complete privacy, might be silently affecting your heart, your sleep, even your emotional well-being? We often hear advice for seniors about diet, walking, or staying socially active, but there's one area that rarely gets talked about, even though it plays a powerful role in both physical and emotional health: solo intimacy. Yes, we're talking about masturbation, and today we're going to talk about it with honesty, care, and without shame. Because after 65, your body moves differently. Your energy flows differently. What once felt effortless might now require more attention, and that's not a problem. That's an opportunity. An opportunity to turn something private into something nourishing. But here's the catch. If you're unknowingly making even one of these 5 common mistakes during self-pleasure, you may be putting quiet stress on your heart, tightening your nervous system, or even interrupting your sleep cycle, all without realizing it. This video isn't about guilt. It's not about judgment. It's about awareness. You'll learn 5 subtle yet important shifts that can turn this private ritual from a rushed moment into a source of restoration. And the benefits? Better circulation, better mood, deeper rest, and yes, a stronger connection to your body, not just for pleasure but for healing. So, if you're someone who wants to age with more grace, more vitality, and more peace, stick with me. You might be surprised by how much power there is in slowing down, breathing deeper, and approaching your private time with the same care you give every other part of your well-being. Let's begin with the very first mistake that too many people over 65 make without realizing how much it costs them. 1. Rushing the experience. Approx. 500 words. Let's begin with the most common and often the most overlooked mistake: rushing. After the age of 65, many people fall into the habit of treating self-pleasure like a quick release. It becomes something you get over with, like brushing your teeth or folding laundry. A few minutes here, a sigh of relief, and done. But your body isn't the same as it was in your 30s or 40s. And treating this experience like a chore doesn't just steal your pleasure. It can also impact your heart, your blood pressure, and even your emotional well-being. You see, when you rush, you often skip the slow build-up your body needs to fully relax and transition into the parasympathetic state, the part of your nervous system responsible for healing, digestion, calmness, and restoration. That quick burst of stimulation might feel satisfying in the moment, but it often leaves behind a trail of tension, tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, even restlessness after you're done. I remember speaking with a man named Leonard, 71 years old. He told me he had trained himself to be quick. "It's just easier that way," he said. But over time, he noticed a strange thing. He wasn't sleeping well. He felt emotionally flat, and afterward, he often felt more anxious than calm. It wasn't until he slowed down, deliberately without rushing, that things changed. His breathing deepened, his mood lifted, his body felt safe again, not jolted. So, what does slowing down actually look like? It means starting gently. No urgency, no performance, just presence. It means bringing attention to your breath, letting it guide the rhythm. It means being in tune with your body, not bulldozing through it. When you take time to be mindful, you allow your nervous system to truly relax. That's when all the real benefits start showing up. Better blood flow, better sleep, and even more emotional clarity. And perhaps, most importantly, when you slow down, you reframe this act from something secretive and rushed into something sacred and healing. So, the next time you begin, Ask yourself, am I rushing? Or am I allowing? Because the gift of time is one of the greatest you can give your aging body. And in this case, it just might be the difference between tension and transformation. Ready for the next insight? Let's talk about something you probably haven't even noticed you're doing. Holding your breath. 2. Holding your breath or tensing the body. Approx. 500 words. It might seem like a small detail, but how you breathe during self-pleasure can quietly decide whether the experience helps you heal or leaves you feeling tense and drained. And yet, many people over 65 unconsciously hold their breath or clench their bodies throughout the entire experience. When you hold your breath, even just for a few seconds at a time, your oxygen levels drop, your blood vessels constrict, your heart works harder. It sends your body into a mild stress state, similar to the one it enters during physical danger. Instead of being in rest and digest mode, you enter fight or flight. And that's not where your body is supposed to be during an intimate, soothing moment. Now add to that the habit of tensing your muscles, especially the core, the pelvic floor, or your jaw, and you're layering on more pressure. This internal bracing might feel normal, even automatic, but it can actually raise your blood pressure, cause fatigue, and prevent your body from fully relaxing. Let me tell you about someone who experienced this firsthand. Raymond, a 78-year-old retired piano tuner. He told me, "I don't understand why I always feel worn out afterward." Physically, he seemed healthy, but then we uncovered the real issue. He was clenching his jaw, stomach, and thighs through the entire act, and his breath, short, shallow, and barely there. Once he became aware of this and intentionally changed it, breathing deeply and relaxing his muscles, everything shifted. He said it felt like my body finally stopped fighting itself. So, what should you do instead? Start with awareness. As you begin, check in with your breath. Are you holding it? Is it shallow? Inhale slowly through your nose, letting your belly expand. Exhale fully through your mouth, like a slow release of tension. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Loosen your belly. Let gravity do the work. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. With every full breath, you invite more oxygen, more circulation, and more calm into your body. And when your breath flows freely, so does your pleasure. Masturbation after 65 isn't just about arousal. It's about reconnecting to the rhythms of your body. And the breath is the bridge. So, next time as you move through this quiet personal space, remember, breathe deeply, release the tension, and trust your body to lead you into balance, not burnout. Now that we've softened the breath and body, let's explore another hidden mistake, one that's become more common than ever: using too much pressure or overstimulation. 3. Using excessive pressure or overstimulation. Approx. 500 words. As we grow older, many people start to notice that their body doesn't respond quite the same way it used to. Sensations feel different, sometimes fainter, slower, or simply less intense. And naturally, we try to compensate. We press harder. We move faster. We turn to high-intensity tools or overstimulating content, thinking more pressure equals more pleasure. But here's the hidden truth. When we overstimulate, especially after 65, we may be doing more harm than good. The skin becomes thinner with age. Nerve endings change. Blood flow decreases. So, when you apply excessive pressure, or rely on strong vibrational devices, or aggressive techniques, you're not helping your body wake up. You're actually training it to shut down. You're conditioning your nervous system to respond only to higher and higher levels of stimulation. And over time, that can numb your natural sensitivity, make it harder to feel pleasure in daily life, and even cause subtle tissue irritation or micro tears in sensitive areas. Let me share a story. Marjorie, 69, had started using more intense devices, thinking it would help her reconnect with her body. At first, it seemed to work. But then she noticed she was feeling less, not just during solo time, but during everyday moments. A warm hug didn't comfort her like before. Even the brush of soft sheets at night didn't feel the same. That's when she decided to step back. She swapped strong tools for gentle touch, used her hands more, slowed down, and tuned in. Within weeks, her natural sensitivity began to return. And more than that, she said, "I feel more emotionally connected. It's no longer about chasing sensation. It's about feeling present in my body." This is the shift that matters. Instead of trying to push your body into pleasure, start inviting it with softness. Use lighter touch. Try circular motions instead of pressure. Explore with textures. A silk cloth, warm lotion, or your bare hand. Let the pace be slow, allowing your body to respond naturally. This slower, softer approach doesn't reduce pleasure. It actually enhances it, because your nervous system stays relaxed and open. Your heart rate stays steady. Your mind stays connected. Think of it like listening to music. When it's too loud, you can't appreciate the melody. But when it's just right, you feel every note. Your body is no different. So, if you've been increasing pressure just to feel something, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me feel more or making me numb? Because pleasure in later years doesn't require more force. It requires more attention, more patience, and more respect for the new ways your body communicates. Up next, let's look at another overlooked factor that can quietly affect your energy and emotional well-being: ignoring what your heart is really feeling. 4. Ignoring emotional or mental discomfort. Approx. 500 words. There's something few people talk about when it comes to self-pleasure after 65. The emotions that quietly show up alongside it. We often focus on the physical side, how the body changes, how sensation shifts. But what about the mind and heart? What about the subtle feelings of sadness, loneliness, guilt, or even emptiness that sometimes surface during or after solo time? Too often, these emotions get pushed aside, maybe out of habit, maybe because we don't know how to deal with them. We rush through the act, focusing harder on the physical part, trying to override anything uncomfortable. But here's the truth: your emotional state matters a lot. When you ignore the feelings that arise during self-pleasure, whether they're grief from a lost partner, confusion about your desires, or a simple sense of disconnection, you're not just being strong. You're potentially creating a disconnect between your body and your deeper self. And over time, that disconnect shows up in other ways: restlessness, poor sleep, irritability, or even a quiet sense of shame that lingers long after the moment has passed. Let's look at Harold's story. He's 66, a kind, intelligent man who lost his wife a few years ago. He still had desires, still craved closeness, but every time he engaged in self-pleasure, he was hit with a wave of guilt and sadness. At first, he thought something was wrong with him, so he ignored the emotions and just kept pushing forward. But he felt worse each time. Eventually, he tried something different. Before he began, he sat quietly. He acknowledged what he was feeling, not trying to fix it, just naming it: loneliness, longing, love. Then he let himself move forward from that space. with more tenderness, more awareness. The result? Not only was the experience more peaceful and meaningful, it left him feeling emotionally lighter, not heavier. This doesn't mean self-pleasure should become therapy, but it does mean you don't have to turn your emotions off. In fact, when you bring your emotions into the space, with honesty, with compassion, you might find a surprising sense of healing. You may still feel sadness or loss or vulnerability, but you'll also feel human, whole, and worthy of care. So, if you find yourself feeling uncomfortable, emotionally numb, or uneasy before or after solo time, don't rush to distract yourself. Just pause, breathe, let yourself be honest, even if it's just in silence. Because real connection doesn't come from shutting your feelings down. It comes from showing up with all of you, body, heart, and spirit. And the more you honor that, the more self-pleasure becomes not just about stimulation, but about emotional nourishment. In the next section, let's explore how timing, especially at night, can also affect your rest, energy, and overall balance. 5. Using the act as a sleep aid too close to bedtime. Approx. 500 words. It's a quiet habit many older adults fall into, engaging in self-pleasure right before bed as a way to drift off to sleep. After all, it seems harmless. The lights are low, the house is calm, and there's a desire to unwind. For some, it even works in the short term. But over time, this nightly pattern can begin to backfire, not helping sleep, but disrupting it. Let's look at why. When you stimulate the body, whether through touch, movement, or mental imagery, you're activating the brain's alert system. Your heart rate increases, blood pressure rises slightly, dopamine and other stimulating chemicals are released. This is a state of arousal, not rest. It's the opposite of the slow, peaceful winding down your body needs to transition into deep sleep. And while a younger body might recover quickly from that brief spike in stimulation, the aging nervous system doesn't rebound as fast. Your heart takes longer to calm, your breathing stays shallow, and your melatonin rhythm, the natural signal your brain uses to promote sleep, gets interrupted. Even if you fall asleep soon after, the quality of that sleep may suffer. You might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, feeling restless or overstimulated. Your dreams may become vivid or unsettling, and when you wake in the morning, you may not feel rested at all. This happened to Barbara, a 72-year-old woman who shared that she had relied on solo intimacy for years to help her fall asleep. But she began to notice her sleep was becoming lighter, more broken, and less satisfying. When she gently shifted her routine, moving her self-pleasure earlier in the evening, perhaps after dinner but well before bedtime, she noticed a dramatic improvement. She still enjoyed the experience, but now she also slept better. Her brain and body had time to wind down naturally. Here's what's important to understand. Self-pleasure can promote relaxation, especially when done mindfully and without urgency. But when it becomes a nightly crutch to force sleep, it begins to lose that benefit. The brain starts associating bedtime with stimulation, not stillness. If you've developed the habit of relying on this ritual to fall asleep every night, ask yourself, is it truly helping me rest? Or is it becoming a routine that's quietly making sleep harder to come by? There's no shame in having that routine, but small adjustments, timing, environment, and intention can make a huge difference. Try moving your solo time to a more relaxed moment earlier in the evening. Let it be a conscious act of self-care, not just a tool to knock yourself out. Give your body the space it needs to shift into true rest, because sleep, real sleep, is one of your greatest tools for longevity. and anything that gets in its way, even subtly, deserves a closer look. Let's now bring all of these insights together in a closing message that honors the full spectrum of self-care, intimacy, and aging well. Conclusion. Approximate 500 words. As we bring this deeply personal and important conversation to a close, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. Your body is still capable of joy, healing, and connection, no matter your age. And the way you care for yourself in your most private moments speaks volumes about the kind of relationship you have with your body, your mind, and your overall health. This video wasn't about judgment. It wasn't about telling you what not to do out of shame. It was about bringing light to something we rarely talk about, yet something that has real consequences for energy, sleep, circulation, emotional balance, and longevity. The 5 mistakes we discussed: rushing the experience, holding your breath, overstimulating, ignoring your emotions, and turning to the act too close to bedtime, are easy to fall into. They often develop without awareness, especially when we're dealing with aging bodies, loneliness, stress, or just the weight of everyday life. But now you have a different lens. You've learned that solo pleasure can be a space for restoration, not just release. When done with presence, care, and softness, it can support your cardiovascular health by reducing stress, rather than raising blood pressure, your nervous system by inviting calm instead of triggering tension, your emotional well-being by becoming a space of self-connection instead of emotional avoidance, your sleep quality by honoring your body's natural rhythms rather than disrupting them, and most importantly, it becomes a ritual of self-respect, a way to say, I matter, my well-being matters, my pleasure matters. You are not just an aging body, you are a full human being, still deserving of peace, still capable of deep connection with yourself and with others. If there's one thing to take away from this video, let it be this: you don't need to change everything overnight. Maybe tonight you'll take a few deeper breaths. Maybe tomorrow you'll give yourself a little more time. Maybe this week you'll notice an emotion and choose not to ignore it. These small acts of awareness, they're not small at all, they're life-giving. You've lived long enough to know that real strength doesn't come from force or performance. It comes from listening. And your body, even now, is still speaking. It's asking for softness, rhythm, breath, and presence. It's asking you to slow down, not because you're broken, but because you're wiser. So, as you continue on your journey, remember, the way you care for yourself in solitude ripples into every part of your life. Your relationships, your sleep, your energy, and even your sense of purpose. Thank you for being here with us today. If this video spoke to you in any way, if it gave you insight, peace, or even just a moment of comfort, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let someone else know they're not alone. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. You deserve healing. You deserve peace. And yes, you still deserve pleasure.